Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the return of WOR. Yes, after a break week last week, we return here to the French Grand Prix at Le Castellet. Unfortunately, Vegas has been scrapped and we're returning here to Circuit Paul Ricard. Championship-wise though, things are heating up. 4 rounds to go, including the race tonight. I'm currently leading the way on 94 points there. 15 clear of Ekelund there, who's on 79. Barry is on 71. And constructors-wise, Williams are on 159 to McLaren's 128. There is a lot that can change between now and the end of the season. It is really, really getting spicy. So I'm going to head over to post-commentary Matt, ready for qualifying. Well, here we are then, qualifying ready for the French Grand Prix. And I'll be honest, coming into this one, I was a little bit nervous, of course. The video we did at Kota, brilliant. Pretty much perfect. Of course, meant that we came into this weekend with a little bit of a buffer. And really now, of course, the goal was to try and close out the championship as best as possible. You know, even if we lose a couple of points here and there to Ekelund and Barry, that's fine. I just want to go into the final race, you know, hopefully still in the lead, but certainly right there still, of course, you know, still in the back of my mind was obviously the bottle that we had at Baku early on in this, in Jeddah, even early on in the season. And safe to say, yeah, this qualifying lap, not brilliant either. Someone had taken out the 50-metre marker board, which was rather frustrating down in towards turn 3 there, so lost a bit of time there. And we actually had some rain on the horizon, so 4 minutes left of the session. This was actually going to be my last-ditch attempt to try and make it and boost ourselves up the order there. My banker lap had actually been on a set of mediums that had put us P9, so that lap was actually very, very good. But I knew, of course, in the final sector especially, there would be a lot of time to find here. So still, yeah, barely up at the moment on that medium tyre lap time. But as we make our way now down into Sector 3 then, this is where we're going to find a lot of time and a lot of potential speed there, leaving the car in 5th gear as we head through Scene Corner then and down in towards the final couple of turns we go. You can just see we're finding time now absolutely everywhere. They're quarter of a second up now. Would hopefully boost us up the order, but can we find anything more as we head through the final couple of turns? I knew I had to gamble it through this final couple of corners there. Get really nice run actually through the hairpin and get the car right up on the white line on the exit there as well. So it's going to be near enough a 4/10 improvement as we head up to the line there, and that puts us P4 on the grid, which actually very, very happy with. As you can see, immediately after we cross the line, we get the flash and the rain has arrived then. So looking at it, 7/10 away from both Piastri and Makaze there. Honestly, I think I could have been quite a safe P3, but I don't think I would have had the pace to match them there. So P4 on the grid is not too bad. 12 thousandths of a second clear of Barry there. And Sam having a good qualifying in the AlphaTauri there. But Ekelund down in P7, one of his better qualifying sessions actually of the year. Really is not a one-lap runner inside F123. But in terms of strategy then, do we gamble the softs to the mediums? I don't think we're going to. We're going to try and go mediums to hards today. Obviously, just a bit of a safer strategy that hopefully, of course, you know, won't leave us trying to save the tyres towards the end. People have warned me, actually over on Twitch, that, you know, tyre wear was quite difficult around here. It's very, very easy, of course, to start losing a lot of time, you know, with all the long flowing corners, obviously in Sector 1 and Sector 3 there. But yeah, beating out both my championship rivals in qualifying. The goal, of course, is again, just obviously try and beat them, or if we can't beat them, just stay close to them. But it's going to be 5 lights then ready on the grid, lining up P4. Of course, we're going to have the outside line as we head down in towards turn 1 there, but 27 laps ahead of us here from Le Castellet, just waiting on someone towards the rear of the field to get going there. But it's going to be 5 red lights here, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. And actually getting quite a bad start as we head down in towards turn 1. They're going to have to use a bit of overtake mode to try and recover it there, as Barry's immediately going to have a look down the inside there. We're going to try and hook it up around the outside of him through turn 1. Make sure we give him plenty of room there, but that's going to really shallow up my run through turn 2. And there's going to be wheels to side pod contact there, and we're going to be sent into a spin. And the nightmare, the worst start we ever could have wanted here in Le Castellet. We're down to last place then, instantly in this Grand Prix, and now we have got it all to do, all the way down in P20 there. Luckily for us, Sinful in the Haas is actually going to spin out, so we're not going to be last for very long, but that was a disaster. We've obviously still got 27 laps to really try and recover it. As you can see, Constant Soda in the Ferrari having a bit of a spin as well. They're already picking up 2 spots, but instantly the idea for this race is completely shifted. Now it is all about damage limitation. You know, can we get back to the points? how many points can we score, and of course, you know, what are Eklund and Barry going to be able to do, because of course, you know, they'll have both seen that. They'll know now they've got a huge opportunity, as Nox Desire actually already out of the race. Then looks like he got tangled up with Shenko in the Mercedes, who's also out of the race. So we're going to get another couple of freebies from that and move back up then into P16. So virtual safety car on lap 1 kind of gives me a second just to refocus, regroup, and of course prepare ourselves to go racing once again. Then is green flag racing as we start lap 2. But yeah, of course, you know, like I said, Eklund and Barry will have seen that. So they obviously both now know they've got a huge opportunity to take some big points out of me then, as we're immediately going to go on the attack though, trying to look down the inside of Epics as we head between turn 2 and turn 3. And of course, you know, didn't want to be overly aggressive still, you know, didn't want to make any more mistakes. You know, I hold my hand up and admit, you know, that incident at the start was completely my fault. I spoke to Barry after the race. Just obviously the camber on the inside there as XTE Walker is going to go for a spin as well. So we're already back up to P14 then of this race, so making quite good progress early on. But yeah, as I mentioned, you know, spoke to Barry afterwards, you know, there was no bad blood between us. It's just the camber on the inside of turn 2 there really forces you into an understeer. So, you know, nothing he could have done in that situation. He gave me a car's width. And now we can see as we start lap 4 though, already pretty much caught up to the rear of the field there. You can see Piastri instantly has tried to break out of the DRS, and I believe he has done, as we're going to try and get a run down the outside of Daniel here, one of the new drivers in the league. And you can see he's actually trying to save some battery then, so we're going to have a look to the inside there. But of course, trying to save the battery here as well was going to be really, really critical. You can see, you know, doesn't really want to get in the way. You know, they're probably, you know, I'd like to think there's an element, of course, from, you know, some of the drivers that are only coming in for a couple of races. You know, the championship leader coming through, you know, probably don't want to get in the way too much. As end of lap 4 then, we're going to get a safety car, and I don't actually know what that was for, because it doesn't look like anyone's span. But we're going to get a safety car, and I'm going to take the opportunity to pit then. A lot of cars up towards the front of the field, though, aren't going to. But I'm just kind of of the mindset of, you know, you look on the mini-map, we're only going to lose 2 places to Daniel and Epics anyway, so we may as well try and gamble onto a set of the hard compound tyres and see if we can try and drag those through to the end of the race. And as it would happen, I believe Daniel didn't pit, but I believe Epics has, or he's picked up a drive-through, so he's in big trouble then anyway, so we're probably going to get the place back off him quite quickly there. And you can see Jack Clays as well, both McLarens opting to pit under the safety car then, so Barry as well has come through the pit lane. I believe Eklund has stayed out there, of course, so he's going to try and claim track position off the restart. We're actually going to get the jump just on looks as well there, so rather happy with that. Of course, just one less car that we've got to try and overtake in the second half of the race, but that's going to mean then we're still in P14 as we head out of the pit lane. And Jack, interestingly, has actually gone out on a set of the medium tyres, so he's definitely going to have to pit again before this race is down and out there. I mean, you can see Barry, I believe, has joined me on a set of hards, but I found out later on Barry actually running very, very low downforce, so it was going to be tight for him whether he was going to make it to the end of the race anyway. Of course, I love to run a high downforce car inside F123, so really did suit me this afternoon then. But yeah, as we get ready to go green flag racing once more, Piastri's actually gone incredibly early. Again, I think trying to get the break free there. As you can see, Glitch and Jack getting almost together there. Glitch gets a big wobble out of the final corner. A good save there out of the final turn. But of course, you know, you can't go for an overtake until you cross the start-finish line there. As Jack again is going to try to apply some pressure as we head down in towards turn 1, being very, very careful that we try not to pick up a warning there. As Glitch again running just a little bit wide off of turn 2, and you can see he's now going to try and go a bit defensive down the hill. I'm going to show the nose down the inside, but not able to make anything happen there. But I am going to be a bit cheeky as we head into the complex and just get to the inside of him. He actually turns into me, which forces him out a little bit wide there, but making the move and now back up then into P11 of the race. So we're pretty much back to the points then already, so it's been a good recovery early on here. And now, yeah, we're right behind one of my championship rivals, and the other one isn't far up the road there. Glitch is going to use a load of battery though and try and get back past me as we head down into the chicane there. We're actually going to pick up another warning as well there as we watched him slice the chicane. I kind of just followed him into the entry. We're actually going to again get another good run off of the corner here. So thought about trying to have a look there, but clearly he's trying to drain battery or is running much lower wing than me at the moment. So we're just going to sit behind him, you know, play the long game, you know, really just want to try and keep it clean and tidy as best as possible here. But through the next corner, again, you know, the high downforce working out beautifully for me, and we'll be able to make up the place once again then. So back into 11th we go then of the race. You can see Daniel just in front of me is actually going to drop it off the corner. So that's going to mean we're back to the points then. And that's fantastic for us, of course, because that means now every place we get is potentially, of course, a bonus against Barry and Ekeland in the bigger picture here. As out of the final corner, you can see Barry and Jack actually a little bit of, McLaren teamwork there, of course. They're still in the fight for the Constructors' Championship, not far behind us either there. So, very much a good battle going on as I ran wide on the entry to turn 1, and that's picked us up a 3-second time penalty. So that has been an utter disaster then. Second track limits penalty of the season. We've been very, very good with the track limits this year, but that was a really, really stupid mistake to make, especially so early on in the race, and the fact we're on the back foot, so that might really come back to haunt us later on in the afternoon here. So really going to have to make sure that we keep, our act together into the second half of the race there. You can see over the next couple of laps, though, obviously all the drivers that are pit, they converge now on the drivers that have stayed out there. You can see Ekeland actually making quite a big mistake there. I think that's an AlphaTauri as well, almost looping it around there. So now we've got all three of our big championship rivals all together now on the road. Almost tried to have a look down the inside of Ekeland, but couldn't make anything happen. And I think, yeah, he was really starting to struggle on his set of the medium compact tyres here. So we're going to switch him off of the final corner there. Of course, don't really want to be on the outside on the run back down towards someone. That's going to have to drain a lot more battery than ideally I would have wanted there. But now we're going to move up then into 7th place once again. And yeah, at the moment, obviously, we're just kind of sticking with Barry. Like I said, I've been warned that he was going to be struggling on his tyres there. As you can see now, end of lap 10, Makaze, Ben, both really struggling, as well as El, obviously on those tyres there. Barry's going to force Makaze out wide, so I'm going to try and take the opportunity and get past the Red Bull car there. And we almost eyed up a move on Barry down in towards the final couple of corners. In fact, we're actually going to go for it down the inside of the McLaren there, and one of my big championship rivals. And now, at the end of lap 10, not only have we caught back up to our big title rivals, but we've actually found our way past both of them there. Barry immediately, though, not going to take that line down. He's going to switch me off the corner. So instantly I knew, of course, he was trying to be quite aggressive with his battery at this stage of the race. Maybe had planned to pit again anyway. But yeah, my goal, of course, still at this point was see if we can make it through to the checkered flag this afternoon there. As you can see, making our way down through the next couple of corners. Did and ah about whether it'd be worth going for a bit of a send there. But Jack, of course, on the medium tyres, he's still going to be one to watch late on in the day, of course. He's really trying to just push on at the moment. But of course, with a huge Mistral straight here, it's so difficult to really try and make places here. As you can see now, Barry in a Williams sandwich then. So is Ben going to play the team game here and try to go defensive? Yes, he is. Barry having a look down around the outside though, and they're both going to go late on the brakes there. Contact between them, and I'm actually going to try and switch them both off of the corner there, and it's been a fantastic little run. We're going to go 3 wide off the corner, and am I going to get 2 for the price of 1? Let's not forget, Ben is still in the championship fight as well there. I think he came into this race about 30 points back from me, but we're going to get down the inside of the pair of them off the corner there. Barry is still going to try and hook it up around the outside, but again, the amount of extra wing we were carrying here was costing us down the straights, but was giving us so much through the corners. And now I need to try and get within the range of El and Jack, which I would do over the next couple of laps there. You can see Jack actually lost the place. He's going to go for it again on El down into the chicane there. Actually going to cut across him rather aggressively into the corner. But El, yeah, really struggling now on his set of the hard compound tyres. And I didn't actually know at the time whether El had pit under the safety car as well, and perhaps had come out, just a little bit further up the order. So as we head side by side through Scene Corner once again, there's going to be a big old squeeze, but just about enough room there. And I'm actually going to check with the engineer whether El has got a pit stop to make, because he was still looking rather racy at this point of the afternoon. Yeah, it would turn out he still had one more pit stop to go. He'd been on those tyres since the start of the race then. So, yeah, really, honestly, I was quite surprised that we've been able to stick with Jack as well as we had here at this stage of the afternoon. As Ben's now going to dive into the pit lane then, my teammate. We're going to try and get a run on Jack as we head back down towards turn 1 there, but being very, very careful that I don't use any of my battery then. Just try and glide around the outside of him there. Really nicely committed, giving the room through turn 1 there. Park it on the apex of turn 2 and just don't allow the switchback off the corner. And suddenly, yeah, we've gone from 20th on lap 1 to back to P2 here. It really has fallen into place for us since, since turn 1 pretty much in this Grand Prix. Everything since then has gone really, really well, but of course we've still got half a Grand Prix to go. Piastri has got a 4-second lead, of course, but he's definitely going to have to pit before this race is over. And obviously we've still got that 3-second penalty that could really come back to haunt me later on. And obviously Jack still, was trying to play the team game with Barry, was going to go back past me again, and of course just not going to fight it at the moment. There's no point in it. El as well is going to dive it down the inside, so that was a little bit more annoying for me. But we're going to recover it quite nicely off the exit of the corner there, and again use the battery to try and switch him off the corner. But what I didn't want was Jack getting out of the DRS range, and of course, you know, had the speed down the straights, but even despite the harder tyres, we were still actually gaining through the corners, despite, obviously, like I said, you know, the tyre deficit that we had against him there, as you can just hear on the radio, confirming, yeah, that L still had a pit stop to make before the end of this race. And of course, this is roughly now where we're going to start to see cars pitting, and I think Piastri at the front of the field is actually going to dive it in as well at the end of that then. So we've done a pretty good stint on the medium compounded tyres, and now obviously we're trying to be taking the hard compound tyres to the end. So he's definitely going to be one to watch in the second half of the afternoon. Of course, you know, going to be closing in as obviously our tyres really starting to hit the cliff here. But at the moment, I was still feeling fairly confident. I can see now as well, Ekelund has actually picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So frustrating for him, of course, but also means, you know, we've only got to beat him on the road once again. And, you know, over the next couple of laps, though, starting just to test the waters a little bit more with Jack, seeing what the straight line speed was like on that McLaren, seeing just how competitive he'd be, but also, of course, you know, trying to make sure that we were conserving the battery as best as possible then. But back to the lead of the race we go, and as we start lap 16, you can see as we head down in towards the final couple of corners, we're going to get another safety car. One of the Ferraris has dropped it, and that's going to mean that we're going to dive it into the pit lane very last minute there. Make sure we don't get done for pit lane speeding as well, but we're going to take a big gamble. We've got 10, 11, 12 laps to go of the race, and we're actually going to go on to a set of the soft compound tyres there. Like I said, I used my mediums in qualifying, so didn't want to be on the scrub set. So this is going to be really, really interesting then, of course. Has absolutely screwed Piastri. Of course, he's going to claim all the free time, but now he hasn't got the tyre advantage anymore as we head through the pit lane there. And luckily, of course, we're going to re-emerge in the lead. And it looks like we've actually got split strategies. Jack and Barry have both gone mediums. Ekelund and I have both gone super aggressive on a set of the soft compound tyres. And my Twitch chat was yelling at me, screaming at me, that this wasn't going to be the way to go, that these soft compound tyres were going to fall off before the end of the afternoon. But the big thing I was worried about was, could we just get Jack out of the DRS range before the DRS was obviously re-enabled here? So obviously this was about where Piastri went when he was leading the safety car. I'm going to really hold off until we make it out of the final corner here. See, Jack behind me trying to weave. I was just doing my brake dragging technique, which seems to be super effective still. So we instantly knew that we should be able to get a better run. So we're going to try and blitz it out of the final corner there, and you can see up into third gear, tiny wobble on the exit as we commit to fourth. We get on the battery there, and you can see instantly as we cross the start finish line, we've got 3/4 of a second here, so we know this is on. We know the next 2 laps are going to be absolutely critical here, and effectively now they need to be qualifying laps. This is when the pressure is on. This is where championships and race victories can be won or lost, so we need to go for it, because of course, you know, if we can break free from Jack, then hopefully they're all going to battle for the DRS behind me, and we can just try and, you know, get free off of the restart there, and maybe, of course, have to try and conserve tyres towards the end of the race, and, of course, you know, focus on that 3-second time penalty. You can see as we head out onto the Mistral straight, 1.2 seconds instantly, and Jack, you can see, starting to panic. I didn't want to take too much battery out of it, just in case I had nothing and we made a mistake. But you can see that gap comes back down to about 0.8 of a second. But off of the chicane again, you know, we just got fantastic traction there. And we're going to gain a little bit more. Just use a splash of battery off the corner. And you can see, I wonder if Jack was just a little bit worried about those cars behind him, because he still isn't gaining much down the second straightaway here. But the gap up to 1 second, he's actually picked up a 3-second time penalty as well now. So our top 3 in the Grand Prix all now with a penalty, and that means Elle and Barry are in the hot seat at the moment, because they're still, of course, within the 3 seconds of me. But as we make our way through the final couple of corners, that gap now up to 1.5 seconds. We are flying on this restart lap there. And of course, the other one I was still worried about, you know, was how quickly was Piastri going to be able to carve through, and would he be able to get to me by the end of the race? They're out of the final corner again, beautiful traction, probably a better lap than my qualifying lap, to be completely honest there. And that's going to be a 1:31.7. And a 1.7 second gap over Jack on just that opening lap there was absolutely what we needed. You can see skipping on to the end of lap 21, and this gap is just going up and up at the moment, up to 2 seconds. He's going to lose almost another second down through Scene Corner. I don't know what happened, you know, between them all, but they've got like 5-6 cars all scrapping it out for P2, and it's just falling into place for me at the moment. Ekelund seems to have dropped back and down the order there. Piastri now is up into P5 then, so we've got eyes on him once again. But now, instantly, we've got the 3-second advantage that we need. Ekelund, as you can see now, by the end of lap 22, had moved back up into P5 there, because Jack had just fallen off completely. I don't know if he just hadn't managed his tyres, could not get him in the right operating window, But over the next few laps, we were just pulling away. It seemed like Piastri and L actually found themselves locked into battle here, and it would only be, you know, about the last 2-3 laps that we'd actually have a disadvantage there. As lap 24, Barry's gone. Barry's DNF from the race and disconnected from the lobby, and I actually found out afterwards that he disconnected first, came back, and found that the car had retired, so I got no idea what happened for Barry there, but that is huge for the championship, because at the moment, we could be on at the very worst for a podium here, and we could even be on for the win as we start the final lap as well. Ekeland way down the order as well. He'd had a nightmare towards the end of this race there, could not look after the tyres, and I think got involved in a couple of incidents. And as we start the final lap with L and Piastri battling so aggressively, the gap was up to 7.5 seconds. Remember, lap 1, we were last, we were P20 in this race, and my focus had completely shifted to just trying to get to the end and score some points. I never, in a million years, anticipated that not only would we be back towards the front, not only would we take points out of our championship rivals, but we could actually win again. I just assumed after COTA I wouldn't win another race this season. I was ecstatic to win at COTA, to be completely honest here, but on the final lap here at Le Castellet, it is all pretty much since lap 1 fallen into place. You know, the second safety car, I can hold my hand up and admit, you know, we got very, very lucky with that, but what a bizarre race it was, you know, absolutely one that, you know, for those of you that stuck around to the end and watched, I cannot thank you all enough. But as we make our way through the final few corners, you can still see Ellen Piastri duking out for P2. You know, I'm guessing they were only hoping at this point that either I'd get a puncture or I'd get another penalty or something would happen. I'd make a mistake, you know, I'm a fair old bottle job still, even on my best days. But as we round our way through the final few corners, taking it super, super easy now, but despite the penalty, despite the spin, despite everything that's gone on in this race, I don't know how many overtakes we've made this afternoon, through the final corner, we are going to win the French Grand Prix. A last to first, a Sergio Perez from Sakhir 2020 kind of drive there. 25 points in the bag. We massively open up the championship lead over Ekeland and Barry as well behind us there. And I don't think, you know, we could ever get a race that's better than that this season. That probably is going to be my best drive of F1 23 there. A staggering result, one that I was never expecting. And yeah, with the final results in, of course, you can see Piastri P2, L in P3 there ahead of Jack, so he did a decent recovery there. Sinful as well. Fantastic recovery by him. Of course, you know, dropped it on lap 1 as well to finish P5 there. You can see Piastri already leaving, not very happy again. You know, just another safety car that hasn't gone his way. But, I mean, he will win a race before the end of this season. That's his 4th second-place finish, if you include the COTA sprint race. And 3 of those now have been to me. But staggeringly, I never thought I'd say these words, but we're actually building up a championship lead at the top of the table there. And again, it's just proof of, you know, even if you get involved in an incident on lap 1, never give up in F1 league racing, because it really can come back to you by the end of the afternoon there. And yeah, with Ekeland way down the order as well, it means, you know, we came into this weekend with a 15-point lead in the championship. And as we leave, La Castellet, 3 races to go of the season, Japan, Silverstone and Brazil, we're on 119 points. Ekeland is on 81. Barry is on 71 there, with Jack and Ben tied on 69 points right behind him. We have a 38-point lead as we head into the final 3 races of the campaign there. Ben and I have a 48-point lead in the Constructors' Championship as well. So really now, the focus is just about, you know, Suzuka is a very easy track to make a mistake. Silverstone is just an absolute slipstream fest. And obviously the final race as well, over in Brazil again, is another very much slipstream related circuit. We now are taking no risks between now and the end of the season. We just want to try and make sure that we are scoring points and doing, you know, just finishing with Ekeland and Barry between now and the end of the campaign. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like. Please get yourself subscribed. We're getting agonisingly close now to 10,000 subscribers. And we'll be back next week with round 9 of WOR. Can we win a league title? A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise and allow me to continue making content full-time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.